Hello and welcome to the Dressage Anywhere podcast. So today we are joined by my very good friend, Rhea Freeman. Hello.
Hello. Fancy meeting you here.
Fancy, indeed. Now, for anybody who doesn't know Rhea, and if you don't know Rhea, where have you been? Because Rhea is like everywhere. She's the lady on the internet, apparently. So Rhea runs her own small biz coaching company. So she helps small businesses like Dressage Anywhere and lots of other different brands and equestrians. And she specifically helps them to get more out of their social media and their PR. Now, this episode is aimed at riders and equestrian and country brands who are using social media to share their stories or their journey. So that's from the hobbyist rider to somebody who's looking to get more sponsors. So I hope this is a useful one. Hi.
I know, I hope so too. If not, I'm really sorry.
It will be amazing.
It will. It should be a giggle anyway.
We'll have a laugh.
Right, absolutely.
Right. So is that a good intro? Is that a good summary of what you do?
Yeah, I was happy with that. 10 out of 10 for that. Well done, you. I have to say, when I'm in your seat, doing the intros for people is really hard. A few episodes ago, I spoke to Claire Lomas, who's just awesome. I had no idea how to introduce her because I was just reading down everything she'd done and I was going, I don't know where to start. So no, well done, 10 out of 10.
Excellent, thank you very much. So Rhea, you've worked with an awful lot of riders and brands on social media and their PR. Why is it a good idea for somebody to build their social media presence?
I think probably the shortest answer, which obviously is not the one I'll just give, but it's just the most incredible free way to promote yourself. So you do have to put the work in, absolutely. But I remember a time before social media. I know it's incredible because I just look so young and I'm so full of life. But
the good old days, eh?
Don't laugh, Ruth. But actually, it was really hard. I know you remember it too. It was really hard because you worked with magazines, and I still do work with traditional media now. But you work with magazines. Even if you provided the most perfect piece of copy by the deadline, absolutely spot on. The magazine has obviously got lots of other pressures. It's got other people doing the same thing. It's got ads it needs to take into account. It's really difficult being the job of a magazine editor and balancing everybody, especially if you are trying to get that coverage for free. You will move to the bottom of the pile, quite rightly, because they need to make sure that the adverts from the people who are paying go in, because otherwise they can't run a magazine. Whereas with social media, we've now got the opportunity to put what we want to say, whenever we want to say it, out to our fans and followers. And of course, we don't get to all of our fans and followers because of the way that the algorithm works, but we still get to a significant amount of these people when we want. We can do things immediately. You do something at a show and you do really well. You can put it on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever, when you're sat on the lorry steps having got off your horse. Or if you're a brand at a show, you can be taking pictures of your stand at the show, saying, come here, I'm stand 55, this is where I am, immediately. And I just think that's just incredible. And that's why we need to be really utilising it well.
Yeah, definitely. And just the thing that popped into my head just then when you were saying about brands taking pictures at a show, I was watching Three Donkeys at the weekend doing just that at Blenheim, and it looked brilliant, didn't it?
But it's lovely because then not only do you go, okay, well, they're number 76, or I think they were 70 something, I think. But Amanda, if you're listening, you did a blooming good job. But she actually showed where she was in the show. So the arena was there. I can't remember the name of the specific arena, but if you turned around and you saw these specific flags, she was there.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to think. I've been to shows before, I'm like 73 and nothing's labelled. You've no idea where you are because none of the stands have got a label. They just got their name on. And it's really difficult to find who you want to find. No, I thought you did an excellent job, actually. There was some really good content that came out of Blenheim and actually from the Dressage Nationals. I saw quite a few people saying, oh, look at our stand, this is what we're doing. And then even if people aren't at the show, you're still in their minds as a brand.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are at the show and you're looking at your Instagram stories or something, or catching up with friends, and you see something like that pop up, you're more inclined to go and find them then, aren't you? And say hello. So yeah, it's really powerful. So what do you think as a rider or an equestrian brand? I don't think we'll be able to keep this to 3, but what do you think are the top 3 things that somebody should do on social media?
Okay, I'm going to try and get to 3. Be consistent. I think that's really important. If you are a rider and you're trying to get brands to sponsor you, to work with you, and you are not consistent, you don't necessarily present yourself as a good risk is too strong a word, as a good
investment.
That's better. As a good investment, because they don't know whether you're going to deliver what you say because you're not consistent. And that might be really harsh from a brand point of view. But I know if I'm looking at 4 riders for a brand and 2 post regularly, doesn't have to be every day, doesn't have to be 6 times a day, but they are posting in a regular pattern, and 2 have a flurry and then go quiet for weeks or months, I'm more likely to lean towards the ones that are consistent, because I feel I'm a lot more confident they're going to deliver correctly or incorrectly. And that's how it works. And with a brand point of view, if you're looking for a brand online and you find them and you look at their Instagram, their Facebook, and they haven't posted for months, most people jump to the conclusion that they're no longer trading and can then go and find someone else who is posting regularly. So consistency is a really important one.
Yeah.
Behave how you want to be treated. That's just like words for life, really. But we talk so much about engagement on social media. We want engagement, people to comment on our posts. We want them to like what we're doing. We want them to send us reactions to stories. Do those things yourself, because you will make better connections. You will learn the platform more. And it's just the right thing to do. I think it's such an easy thing to do as well. When people comment on your posts, comment back. If you're following specific hashtags, particularly on Instagram, find out people who you want to speak to and kind of leave nice, relevant, authentic comments on their content. That's going to help you massively. And the third thing is the quality of your content. Make sure you're putting out good quality content. This doesn't mean you have to have professional photo shoots. If you can afford it, awesome. I've had a couple of shoots with Sophie Callahan, and I'm still using stuff 3 years on because it's so flipping good. If you can afford professional photo shoots, 100% do it. They will pay you back if you use them well. But if you can't, just improve your skills on your phone. Our phones are capable of incredible things, of really good photographs. If we do the learning, if we go to YouTube, if we follow photographers and watch their IGTVs, and we can take really good videos, really good photographs on our phone. If you're putting out quality content, it's the thing that's going to stop people scrolling. And also, if you're looking to attract brands to work with, or you are looking to attract customers, a brand wants to work with somebody who ticks loads of boxes, but if they're not putting out content that they can use, that's a bit of a problem. So quality content, consistency, and being what you want to see on social. 3.
Those are very strong points, I have to say.
I wasn't even prepped for this. That just came to my mind.
Wow, you're like a professional or something,
I know, and it's weird. It's weird. I've done a lot of talking about this over the last couple of weeks.
It's really interesting, though, that you say about, behave as you would like to be seen to be behaving, that kind of thing. Because I have a Post-it note somewhere on my desk, which I scribbled down from, I forget what it was. It might have been a podcast of yours, or it might have been somebody else. Not that I listen to any other podcasts, of course, but
but
it went along the lines of, on Instagram specifically, comment on 5 different posts of people you follow, react to 5 different stories of people that you follow, go and find a hashtag and comment on it, in various places on Instagram. And it really is important to kind of put in what you want to get out of it, because I think it's so easy as a brand specifically, it's quite easy to just post and then go and not engage with it again. And that doesn't really serve you very well, does it? You need to keep up the game, really.
Yeah, and the great thing about social media as well, in addition to it being a platform where we can promote what we're doing, it also allows us to form connections, friendships, relationships, customer loyalty. It allows us to do so much else. Yeah. And a lot of that happens with the engagement side of it. If someone comments about how lovely something is, and you say, thanks so much, we've worked really hard on it, you're in a conversation then, especially if they reply back, and it all helps. It's these little kind of incremental gains we can make. It all helps, not just from a sort of calculated strategy point of view, but from a human point of view as well.
Definitely.
It's nice to have people who are your flag wavers, who are your cheerleaders, who want you to do well, and you want them to do well as well. And social media is a great place to show that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think, what social media has given us now is an opportunity to talk directly to our customers. Or, if I'm a rider, to talk directly to brands I buy from or would like to work with in the future or something. We've never really had those opportunities before, unless you were, going to badminton, Burley, Blenheim, BD National Championships or whatever, and you were on the circuit. But now we've got that direct connection and that voice and that relationship that we can build. So it's really important that we do it well.
Definitely. And I think what you were saying then as well, we wouldn't normally get the opportunity to speak to brands, but equally brands wouldn't get to know about, and a lot of people who aren't top level riders, but have got really nice engaged followings, and could be incredibly valuable to a brand because they still turn their horses out beautifully, look after their horses beautifully, adore their horse, are bang on for the target market of the brand. They're usually, in olden times, the only way that a brand would really know about those people is if they went to perhaps lower level competitions where you don't get many trade stands because there's not so many people, or if that rider directly approached that brand and then the brand would not necessarily know anything about them. So they're starting from kind of cold, whereas it's really turned the tables the way that social media helps with all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that point, one thing that I really like from Dressage Anywhere's point of view is the riders who ride with us posting stuff about the tests that they're preparing for, and I like the good, bad, and the ugly as well. It's not all roses, is it? It's nice to see the honest side of it as well, and it's really great when people are posting, stories or pictures of their red rosettes, and they've done really, really well. But it's equally as nice to see somebody talking about a problem that they're having in a test that they're practicing for their next Dressage Anywhere competition. And I really love that. I really love being able to see everything, warts and all. It's really good.
It's real life, isn't it? It's much more relatable, and it gives us all more opportunities to connect with those people. If we've got a horse that's being really tricky and we think, gosh, I'm the only one that's ever had this problem. When you see someone else kind of go, oh, I just cannot get it into a corner, and someone goes, that happened to me too, all of a sudden you're not alone anymore.
Yeah.
And these people don't even have to be at your yard, in your village, in your town, in your city. They can be anywhere in the world and they can still offer huge value to you as a human.
Yeah, definitely. So thinking about the different platforms that we've got to choose from, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, WhatsApp,
Snapchat, Pinterest.
Oh God, yeah, all of
YouTube,
those. YouTube,
well. LinkedIn. Yeah. There's a few of them.
There's a hell of a lot out there, isn't there? And we can do quite a lot more than just posting a pretty picture of our ponies with a nice little caption. How would you recommend somebody go about making it more fun?
One really good tool, particularly on Instagram, is stories. So often we like to have our grid sort of nicely curated with the nice pictures and a thing that sums up our day. We wouldn't necessarily have, our horse being really challenging or something funny that they do in the stable. But with stories, they only last for 24 hours. You can just do them on the go. They don't have to be edited, or they can just be as they are. And I think, I have people commenting on my stories, like that go obviously into my direct messages, and you can kind of have a real chat with those people because they've seen something they think is funny, or they've gone, yeah, mine does that too, and you can just have that discussion. So I think utilizing things like stories that are more kind of fleeting are quite good. And I think as well, things like, again, with Instagram particularly, reels are really fun and can be quite a creative, quite time consuming. But can be a really fun, creative way to show different things. So rather than you having to pick one picture and put that on, with a reel, you can put lots of images together and make something that covers more points. So I think just using the tools and exploring whichever platform you're on, quite a few have had ways of doing stories that are short-term things. So exploring those and what platform you're on, and just seeing if that's a useful way to get across the other side of your life. Not that you should be inauthentic on your grid either, because I think that is important. But I'll chat away if I'm out on a walk or something. I'll chat away on my stories, and I won't really care that my hair is completely mad. But if I was having that one post I do in a day, I would try and just have it as kind of that second of the day when I've got that one point to talk about that I didn't want to look as wild as normal. And I don't think that's being inauthentic, I think that's showing up as our best selves. But I think it's good to have the other side around it as well that makes it just a lot more relatable.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I totally agree with that.
And that's all we can do. I think that's the thing as well. We expect that we should be perfect at everything we do. No one's perfect at everything they do. And a lot of people use Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform they're on, but they've also got jobs, horses, dogs, children, houses to look after. If your job is a content creator, I think that's one thing.
Yeah.
And that's what you do to earn your money. But if you are doing it kind of for enjoyment, and yes, you might get paid for what you do, but it's not your main source of income. I think we need to be a lot easier on ourselves as well, because we're doing our best and we're still showing up and we're trying and we're having fun and we're still connecting, we're still ticking all those boxes. So whether or not we show up perfectly preened or not is kind of not the point. The fact we're showing up is the key. I
like that. I really like that. I'm going to make that my motto this week, I think.
Just show up anyway. Crazy hair and all. That's just me.
Is there a risk if you are on all of these platforms? Is there a risk that it can take over your life? I know the answer to this because yes, there is, because it's taken over my life in the past. But how do you avoid it taking over your life and kind of reaching burnout?
It's hard. If you are on everything, if you have got your YouTube channel, you've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things, it's like it is your whole life, or it can be. But I think that it's important to focus on the areas where your customers are the most. So with the kind of numbers involved, Facebook and Instagram, I can't think of anyone I wouldn't recommend being on those two, because there's just so many people involved. And from a brand point of view, you've obviously got the advertising side of things as well. You can kick in, which is super easy. With those two, you can advertise in other places as well, but generally. So think about where your people are. That's a really good start. Think about the kind of content you like to create, because if you absolutely hate video, some of the platforms aren't going to be as well suited for you as others. Also, don't forget, you don't have to create brand new, fresh content every platform. You can repurpose. So if you did a video for YouTube, let's say, you could chop that down into little short bits that you could put on other platforms as well. Or you can make a little reel out of it, or you could write a blog about what you talked about and then have quotes that you could use on different places. So you can repurpose content as well. You don't have to make everything shiny and new. But I think it's really focusing on where you're going to get the result you want the most. And then when you feel like you've kind of got the hang of that, then you can always add another platform. But I think don't overwhelm yourself with everything at once, because that is really overwhelming. And then you kind of don't feel you're making any progress, but you're working really hard to not make any progress. And then you become despondent, and then you're likely to throw in the towel altogether on everything, when it's not everything's fault. You were putting yourself in a bad position where you couldn't really succeed.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I would do it.
Oh, that's really good. More importantly, do you have to spend any money to do it? No. This is a question that's right up your street.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I schedule a fair amount of my content, and I use a free platform called Later. There are paid for options on there, but I use the free level because I don't need the paid for stuff. You can also use things like Facebook Creator Studio, which is also free. If you've got Facebook groups, you can schedule directly into the Facebook group. You can do it all for free. It does take time. Yeah. So, we're saying about if you've got funds and you are a brand particularly, or if you're a rider, professional photo shoots are great. I absolutely stand by that. But you can get a lot of stuff for free on your phone. You can con relatives into helping you and friends. You don't want to be throwing money at something you don't have the funds for. And also, even if you do have the funds, if you've had the funds to advertise, for example, you should still be making sure your organic content's good. The content that you're posting should still be there and it should still be good. And you're likely to get that kind of, if someone finds you through an ad, or if someone finds you because you DM them about working with them, and they come over to your social and there's just nothing there, or it's rubbish, it doesn't matter that you made that step or you paid that money. You're not as likely to make a conversion, whatever that conversion looks like, as if you had a good organic, whatever platform you're on as well. So no, you can absolutely do it for free. It does take time and it takes work. It takes both those things, whether you pay or whether it's free, to be honest. It's likely to take a bit longer if it's free. But no, and to be honest, I'm trying to think. I know some of my clients that I work with, that I sort of mentor, do advertise, but not much, not often. For specific things they will. But what I really focus on with them is making sure their organic stuff is good, making sure it's ticking all the boxes, it's talking about all the things they need to for their brand or their business. So no, you can do it all for free. And it's kind of fun when you've built it up from nothing as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing, isn't it? Because the technology that we use day to day is getting better and better. I mean, a couple of years ago, you'd never thought of, being able to take half decent photos on your phone and then put them on Instagram and then almost look like a professional photograph. But now, these things are available to us quite easily. I mean, I know we were talking about, is it free or how can you do it for free? And obviously buying an iPhone isn't free, but it's the kind of thing that you're going to invest in anyway, isn't it? So, why not invest in some really great technology like that to kind of really work well for you?
Yeah, and there are probably apps that would do similar as well. There might be an app you could download for not much money, maybe even free. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. There's an editing app that actually Sophie Callahan put me onto called Lightroom. I'll be honest, I don't use it because I'm not very good at it, but that's the free level that I use. When I have, if I don't, on hand on heart, I try not to edit things because I'm not very good at it. And I think that when something's edited badly, it's much worse than like just taking the blooming photo again. I think the professional photographers, like, they absolutely know what they're doing and they get the best out of those photographs with the kind of careful editing. I'm not that person. I'm rather rubbish at it. But even things like Lightroom, there's a free level. There's lots of apps you get. There is that free level. You can then pay for extras if you want them, but at least you have the chance to use them and see what you need of them for free.
Yeah, brilliant. So if any riders or equestrian brands want to know more about what you do and what service you can offer them, what kinds of resources have you got to help?
I think probably the podcast is the biggest one. So each week on a Wednesday, I put out a podcast, which is Small and Supercharged podcast. I talk about lots of things on there. There's interviews with riders, there's interviews with brands. And then every other week, I just do a solo about something specific. So that could be working with brand ambassadors, pitching to be a brand ambassador, or how different bits of social media work. I am on Instagram far too much. So I'm at Rhea Freeman PR over there. So follow me on there and I do respond to direct messages and things like that. And probably the Small and Supercharged Facebook group as well, the free one. I've obviously got the two. One's a membership one and one's a free one, but I mean, obviously very welcome in both. But the free one, there's always a lot of chat going on in there. Not necessarily by me, but people asking questions, and it's for brands and for influencers and riders. So it's a good place to be. So they're probably the best places.
I was also thinking about, wasn't there I think it's still available. You did a course a little while ago, a rider course.
Yeah, no, I have got the rider course.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
So that was created because, again, a lot of people want to be brand ambassadors, sponsored riders, and brands know what they want, but there's this kind of void in communication between the two. And I'm quite passionate about, let's fill that void, because from a brand point of view, if you find the right person to work with, that can be absolutely incredible. And if you pick the wrong person to work with, it can be very annoying and it can kind of sour you slightly against working with other people again, which I certainly don't want, because then that takes away from other people. And from a brand ambassador or from an influencer point of view, you want to do a good job for the brand. But if they're not communicating with you, or you're worried that your skills are lacking in certain areas, that can be a real kind of barrier. So I created a course to hopefully fill that void a little bit. And yeah, it's nice. There's a lovely Facebook group connected, which is just part of it. And there's just a really lovely bunch of people in there. And, I have gone on to see them working with other brands, and it's really lovely to see that. I'm not saying it's because of doing the course with me, but it's great when you see them doing something really well and they've really put the work in, they've really learned it, and you can see how well they're delivering for the brands they're working with as well.
Yeah.
That's really lovely. But all credit to them for doing that, because as with anything, you can do the course, but it's whether you then apply it, isn't it? It's whether you learn those things and you develop that.
Yeah, and it's been really nice, actually. I've seen a few people who've tried out Dressage Anywhere from your course, and they've written some lovely reviews, or a lovely post about us and how they found it and what they got out of it. And I think, it's been really great, and it's a really good thing to see that you're kind of bridging that gap between brands and influencers or brand ambassadors, or just any rider, really. It's really been useful. So we've already said where we can find you on Instagram, Rhea Freeman PR. What about your rider course, and just in general, if somebody wants to come and find you? Obviously, they can go to your Instagram profile to find your web link, but where do people find you on the internet?
It's just rheafreemanpr.co.uk. That's my website. It's Rhea, R-H-E-A, like the small ostrich or the Greek goddess. It's not funny, Ruth. And I'm also on Facebook. I'm Rhea Freeman PR on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Don't use that much. I'm just Rhea Freeman on there. But yes, they're the main places. Or just email me. Again, I'm Rhea I'm very imaginative with all my email and social media places, but Rhea at rheafreemanpr.co.uk. Just ping me a message on any place and I'll do my best to help.
Awesome. And there's also the Small and Supercharged group on Facebook. So if anybody's interested in joining, just search for Small and Supercharged and you'll find the Facebook group and you can apply to join it. And there's also the mastermind group, which I'm a member of, and lots of other lovely people, which is a really awesome space to share ideas and all sorts of things. And you do monthly masterclasses and weekly lives and everything in there. So it's really a really good space to learn about new things. And we should also mention that you are a certified Facebook trainer. Is that the right way of saying it?
Facebook lead trainer. Yeah. I'm a certified Facebook lead trainer.
Awesome.
I have an exciting piece of glass in my office with that on it, which is lovely.
Which says that you officially know what you're doing.
Yes, I feel like I need one of those just for life, really. But then I don't think I'd pass the test, would I?
Of course you would. Awesome. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Dressage Anywhere podcast. It feels very strange being in this seat for a change. I know. A little bit scary. But
weird being in this seat. But thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for listening to the Dressage Anywhere podcast. Dressage Anywhere is an online platform where you can upload your dressage test videos and enter competitions with other riders from around the world. Find out more about us at dressageanywhere.com, Dressage Anywhere on Facebook, Dressage_Anywhere on Instagram, and Dressage_comp on Twitter.